The Great Hall of the Harmonious Exchange Space Station buzzed with activity. Representatives from over 300 spacefaring civilizations filled the circular chamber. Some floated in special tanks, others moved on many legs, and some looked almost human-like, but with skin colors ranging from deep blue to metallic gold. High Counselor Zix Terra, a tall being with 4 arms and smooth gray skin, tapped the silver gavel on the podium. The sound echoed through the hall, and the many conversations died down. "The quarterly assembly of the Galactic Council is now in session," announced Zix Terra. "We have covered the regular agenda items. Now we move to a late addition, the matter of the newly discovered species in the Sol system. Junior Scout Officer Kelnar will present the findings." A small green being with large eyes stepped forward. Unlike most council members who wore elaborate robes or ceremonial armor, Kelnar wore the simple uniform of the Scout Service. "Honorable Representatives," Kelnar began. 3 cycles ago, our mapping ships discovered a previously unregistered intelligent species on the 3rd planet of the Sol system. They call themselves humans and their planet Earth. Kelnar touched a control panel and a hologram of Earth appeared above the center of the chamber. It spun slowly, showing blue oceans and green-brown continents. As is standard procedure, we sent cloaked observation ships to study this species before making contact, Kelnar continued. What we found was concerning. The hologram changed to show scenes from Earth, cities with tall buildings, highways filled with cars, and then battlefields, tanks, and explosions. Humans are pre-FTL primitives, but they are advancing faster than any species we have previously encountered, said Kelnar. From simple tools to space travel in less than 10,000 years. Most concerning is their tendency toward violence and warfare. A few council members shifted uncomfortably in their seats. Others leaned forward with interest. Their planet has resources that would be valuable to the council, but their aggressive nature presents risks, Kelnar concluded. I recommend classifying Earth as a Class 3 developing world with monitoring protocols. High Counselor Zix Terra nodded. Thank you, Junior Scout Officer. Does the council wish to discuss this matter? Most representatives seemed uninterested. After all, new species were discovered regularly, and pre-FTL civilizations rarely warranted much attention. Ambassador Thriel of the Vesprid Alliance, a tall insect-like being, raised a segmented arm. I suggest immediate containment protocols. From what I have seen, these humans spread and consume resources at an alarming rate. They might reach nearby systems before they are ready for peaceful contact. That is an overreaction, countered Counselor Meb, whose species resembled large jellyfish floating in anti-gravity fields. They are centuries from developing FTL travel. We should simply observe from a distance as we have with other developing worlds. The debate might have ended there, with Earth categorized and forgotten, if not for what happened next. A junior aide rushed into the chamber and whispered urgently to High Counselor Zix Terra. The High Counselor's eyes widened. Council members, Zix Terra announced, voice tight with surprise. A ship of unknown design has just entered Council space near Outpost Delta 9. It is transmitting in multiple frequencies, attempting to establish communication. The hologram changed to show a small ship with straight lines and simple engines, clearly not built by any known council race. Impossible, muttered Kelnar. They shouldn't have this technology for at least another century. The ship identifies itself as Pathfinder from Earth, continued Zix Terra. It requests peaceful contact with any intelligent life. The council chamber erupted in confused chatter. Some representatives demanded immediate defensive measures, while others called for calm. Zix Terra raised all 4 arms. Silence. I have directed Outpost Delta 9 to escort the Earth vessel here. We will meet these humans directly. 6 hours later, the council chamber had been reorganized. Many representatives had called in experts from their worlds, filling the pew. Observer galleries above. Security personnel lined the walls. The doors opened and 4 humans entered, escorted by council guards. The chamber fell silent. Captain Daniel Wright led the small group. He walked with confident steps despite being surrounded by aliens. Behind him came Science Officer Lisa McDonald, carrying scientific instruments, communications specialist Alan Garcia with translation equipment, and Security Chief Olivia Winters, who scanned the room with watchful eyes. High Counselor Zix Terra spoke first. Welcome to the Harmonious Exchange. I am High Counselor Zix Terra. You are the first humans to make contact with the Galactic Council. Captain Wright bowed slightly. Thank you for your welcome. I am Captain Daniel Wright of the Earth vessel Pathfinder. We come in peace, seeking friendship and knowledge. Your arrival is unexpected, said Zixtera. Our observations suggested your species was decades from achieving faster-than-light travel. Wright smiled. We've always been quick learners. 3 years ago, Dr. McDonald here made a breakthrough in gravitational field manipulation. We built Pathfinder to test the technology and search for other intelligent life. Ambassador Thriel stepped forward, towering over the humans. How did you find us? Did you detect our observation ships? No, said Wright. We followed unusual radiation patterns that didn't match any natural phenomenon. We guessed they might be from artificial engines, Science Officer McDonald added. We've been searching for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence for centuries. We always believed we weren't alone. The council members exchanged glances. A species that could advance so quickly and detect their ship so easily was not what they had expected. Captain Wright, said Zixtera, your arrival raises many questions. The council must discuss how to proceed with Earth. Would you and your crew accept guest quarters while we deliberate? Of course, Wright replied. We understand this is a surprise. We're eager to learn about the council and share information about Earth. After the humans were escorted out, the council erupted into heated debate. They are dangerous, insisted Ambassador Thriel. They developed faster-than-light travel centuries ahead of predictions. What else are they capable of? But they seem peaceful, countered another representative. This could be a beneficial relationship. For hours, the arguments continued. Finally, Senior Counselor Vaxil, one of the oldest and most respected members, called for order. We must not rush to judgment, Vaxil said, his voice deep and calm. I propose a special committee to study these humans thoroughly. We need to understand their capabilities, their culture, and their intentions before deciding their place in galactic society. The council voted, and the proposal passed. As the session ended, many representatives lingered, discussing the surprising turn of events. None could have predicted that this small planet called Earth would soon become the most debated topic in the galaxy. 2 weeks after the arrival of the Pathfinder, the Human Study Committee held its first official meeting in a secure room aboard the Harmonious Exchange. 12 representatives from the major council races sat around a large oval table, with Dr. Quartel, the leading xenobiologist in council space, presiding. Our task is clear, said Dr. Quartel, her blue skin shimmering under the room's lights. We must understand these humans before the council decides how to integrate them into galactic society, or whether to do so at all. The committee members nodded in agreement. Screens around the room displayed data from the observation missions to Earth. I propose we send a delegation to Earth, said Representative Rek, a reptilian being from the Saurian Collective. Covert observation has its limits. We need direct interaction. After some debate, the committee approved the proposal. A formal request was sent to Captain Wright, who had remained on the Harmonious Exchange as Earth's temporary representative. Wright immediately contacted Earth. Within days, NASA Director Samantha Nichols sent her approval and began preparations for the alien visitors. 1 month later, the council delegation arrived at the newly established Diplomatic Exchange Center in Geneva, Switzerland. The facility had been hastily converted from an international conference center to accommodate the visiting aliens. Dr. Elizabeth Cole, head of the Human Alien Cultural Exchange Program, greeted the visitors at the landing pad. Welcome to Earth, she said to the delegation led by Dr. Quartel. We're honored to host representatives of the Galactic Council. The aliens looked around with a mixture of curiosity and caution. Some wore environmental suits as Earth's atmosphere contained elements harmful to their species. Your cooperation is appreciated, replied Dr. Quartel. We have much to learn about each other. Over the next several weeks, the delegation visited cities, universities, factories, and natural landmarks across Earth. They observed human daily life, studied historical records, and interviewed people from various cultures and professions. What way? They discovered deeply troubled many committee members. In a private meeting room at the Geneva Center, the delegation gathered to discuss their findings. Humans evolved on what would be classified as a death world by our standards. Dr. Quartel explained, displaying data on a screen. High gravity, extreme temperature variations, deadly predators, natural disasters. Yet they not only survived, but thrived. Another committee member, Ambassador Loon of the Aquatic Mer Confederacy, added, "Their biology is remarkable. They can survive radiation levels that would kill most council species. They heal from injuries that would be fatal to others. Their endurance is almost unbelievable. Most concerning is their history," said Representative Reck, pulling up historical footage of human conflicts. "They have fought wars that devastated entire continents. They developed atomic weapons capable of destroying their civilization, and they used them." The room grew quiet as they watched footage of historical battles, from ancient spear-wielding armies to modern warfare. "Yet they also show remarkable capacity for peace and cooperation," countered Dr. Quartel. "They formed global organizations to prevent war. They provide aid to each other after disasters. They create art and music celebrating harmony." The delegation debated long into the night, trying to reconcile the contradictions they observed in human nature. Their study was interrupted 3 days later by what would become known as the Phoenix Incident. The delegation was touring a museum in Phoenix, Arizona, when a group of heavily armed men stormed the building. They were members of Earth First, an extremist group opposed to alien contact. Their leader, Gregory Walsh, had been planning the attack for weeks. "No aliens on our planet," Walsh shouted as his group took control of the main hall, taking both human and alien visitors hostage. Security guards were quickly overwhelmed and local police surrounded the building. For 2 tense hours, Walsh demanded that all aliens leave Earth immediately. Commander Ryan Morris of the newly formed Extraterrestrial Security Division arrived and took charge of the situation. When negotiations failed, and Walsh threatened to execute hostages, Morris made a difficult decision. "We're going in," he told his team. "Priority 1 is protecting our alien guests." What happened next would change the Council's perception of humans forever. Morris and his team entered through multiple points, showing coordination and courage that surprised the watching aliens. When one of Walsh's men aimed at Dr. Quartel, Officer Patricia Kelly threw herself in the line of fire, taking a bullet in the shoulder. Despite her injury, Kelly helped Dr. Quartel to safety, while Morris and his team subdued the attackers. By the end of the 15-minute operation, all terrorists were captured and the hostages rescued. 3 humans were injured, including Kelly, but no lives were lost. News of the attack spread quickly through council space, but so did the stories of human bravery. The committee members who witnessed the events firsthand sent conflicting reports back to the council, some focusing on the violent extremists, others on the humans who risked their lives to protect aliens they barely knew. 2 weeks later, Dr. Quartel presented the committee's findings to the full Galactic Council. "Humans are unlike any species we have encountered," she began, standing at the center of the Grand Council chamber. "They evolved in conditions most council races would consider unsurvivable. This has made them extraordinarily resilient and adaptable." She displayed a hologram showing human genetic structure. "Their DNA allows for rapid mutation and adaptation, far faster than council standards. In less than 10,000 years, they advanced from simple agriculture to space travel. At their current rate of development, they could match or exceed council technology within a century." The chamber filled with murmurs of concern. "Their history shows both extreme violence and remarkable altruism," Dr. Quartel continued. "They fight devastating wars, then rebuild together. They compete aggressively, then share their advances. During the Phoenix incident, I witnessed humans risking their lives to protect beings they had only just met." Ambassador Thriel interrupted. "So what is your assessment? Are they a threat?" Dr. Quartel paused before answering. Humans are an unpredictable variable in our galactic society. They have potential to be our greatest allies or our greatest concern. What is certain is that they cannot be ignored. As the Council prepared for a full debate on humanity's place in the galaxy, a message arrived from Earth. NASA Director Nichols announced that Earth was sending its first official ambassador to the Council, a respected diplomat named Nicole Jordan. The debate was about to enter a new phase, with humanity now having a voice at the table. The Galactic Council chamber was more crowded than it had been in centuries. Representatives from every member species attended, and the viewing galleries were packed with observers and experts. The debate about humanity's place in galactic society had become the most important issue facing the Council. High Counselor Zix Terra called the session to order. Today we begin formal deliberations on the status of Earth and humanity within Council space. 3 main positions have emerged from preliminary discussions. Zix Terra gestured to different sections of the chamber. The cautious majority proposes limited integration with careful monitoring. The isolationists advocate for quarantine and containment of Earth. The progressive minority supports full Council membership for humans. Murmurs filled the chamber as representatives conferred with their advisors. Before we hear arguments, continued Zix Terra, I am pleased to welcome Earth's first official representative to the Council, Ambassador Nicole Jordan. All eyes turned to the chamber entrance as Ambassador Jordan walked in. She was a tall woman, with dark skin and gray hair, wearing a simple blue uniform with Earth's new planetary emblem, a globe surrounded by stars. 2 aides followed her, carrying data tablets. Jordan took her place at the designated podium and looked around the chamber with calm confidence. Esteemed representatives of the Galactic Council, she began, I bring greetings from Earth. We are honored to join this assembly of spacefaring civilizations. Humanity has dreamed of this moment for generations, to know we are not alone in the universe and to take our place among the stars. Her voice was strong and clear as she continued. We come seeking friendship, knowledge, and peaceful cooperation. Earth has much to learn from the Council, and perhaps some things to offer in return. We ask only for the opportunity to prove ourselves worthy partners in this great galactic community. As Jordan finished her opening remarks, Ambassador Thriel of the Vesprit Alliance moved to the central platform. His insect-like form towered over the human ambassador. The ambassador's words sound pleasant, Thriel began, mandibles clicking with agitation. But they do not match humanity's actions. I will now present evidence of human nature that the Council must consider. At Thriel's signal, the chamber's holographic system activated. Images appeared in the air, scenes of human warfare throughout history. Ancient battles with swords and spears gave way to modern conflicts with tanks and bombs. The images showed cities in ruins, soldiers in combat, and civilian suffering. This is humanity's true nature, declared Thriel. In their brief history, they have fought more wars among themselves than most Council species have in thousands of years. They developed nuclear weapons capable of destroying their own planet, and they used them against their own kind. Many Council members shifted uncomfortably at the violent images. Some representatives from particularly peaceful species covered their sensory organs. Their technology advances primarily through military development, Thriel continued. Their space exploration began as a competition between rival nations. Even their entertainment glorifies violence and conquest. The final images showed military parades, weapons factories, and soldiers training for combat. I submit that humanity is too dangerous to join our peaceful council, Thriel concluded. At minimum, they must be contained and closely monitored for centuries before we consider integration. When Thriel finished, Ambassador Jordan requested permission to respond. The images you have seen show real events from our history, Jordan acknowledged. We do not deny the violence in our past or our present, but these images tell only part of our story. Jordan signaled her aides, who transmitted new data to the holographic system. New images appeared, humans helping each other after natural disasters, medical workers treating the sick, peace treaties being signed, and international cooperation projects. For every war in our history, there have been longer periods of peace, Jordan said. For every weapon we created, we developed thousands of tools to build, heal, and connect. The same drive that led to conflict also pushes us to explore, discover, and improve. The debate continued for hours. Representatives from dozens of species offered opinions and arguments about humanity. Some feared Earth's rapid technological development, while others valued the potential for new ideas and approaches. As the session neared its end, Dr. Kelvak, a leading council psychologist, presented an assessment of human mental patterns. Our analysis identifies concerning traits in human psychology, Dr. Kelvak explained. They show strong territorial instincts, pack mentality, and competitive drive. They form emotional attachments that override logical decision-making, and they take risks that most council species would consider irrational. From the Earth section, Dr. Kevin Miller, a human psychologist, requested permission to respond. The traits Dr. Kelvak describes are real, Miller admitted, but they are the same traits that helped us survive on a challenging planet. Our territorial nature also makes us protective of our homes and families. Our pack mentality creates strong bonds of loyalty and cooperation. Our competitiveness drives innovation. Miller displayed brain scans showing human emotional responses. We feel deeply, both love and anger, fear and courage. These emotions guided our evolution and continue to shape our societies. They can be channeled toward peaceful purposes. The council seemed deeply divided. No clear consensus emerged despite hours of debate. Just as High Counselor Zixtera was about to call an end to the day's session, alert signals sounded throughout the chamber. A communications officer rushed to Zixtera and spoke urgently in their ear. Zixtera's face showed alarm as they addressed the council. Representatives, I must interrupt our proceedings. We have received an emergency signal from Outpost Sigma 7 near the border of council space. The outpost is under attack by vessels from the Crawl Dominion. Screens around the chamber showed a small space station under fire from 3 angular, predatory-looking ships. The station's defenses were failing. Our defensive systems in that sector were undergoing maintenance, explained Zixtera. The nearest council defense fleet is 2 hours away. The outpost reports their shields will fail within 20 minutes. As the council watched in horror, a new ship appeared on the screens. It was smaller than the crawl vessels but moved with surprising speed. Sensors identify it as the Earth vessel Endeavor, reported the communications officer. Captain Susan Foster commanding. The human ship accelerated toward the battle despite being outgunned and outnumbered. What are they doing? Gasped a council member. They'll be destroyed. The entire council chamber fell silent as they watched the small human ship charge into combat against an enemy they had never faced before. The council chamber was silent as everyone watched the screens. The Earth ship Endeavor raced toward the 3 larger crawl vessels attacking the outpost. This is Captain Susan Foster of the Earth ship Endeavor, came a transmission that echoed through the chamber. Outpost Sigma 7, we're moving to assist. Hold on. The crawl ships turned their attention to the incoming human vessel. Energy weapons fired, but the Endeavor moved in an unpredictable pattern, avoiding most hits. What is that maneuver? Asked a council military advisor. No standard evasion pattern matches their movement. The Endeavor suddenly accelerated directly toward the largest crawl ship, as if on a collision course. They're going to crash, gasped several council members. At the last moment, the Endeavor fired thrusters in a sequence that spun the ship around the enemy vessel, while launching a series of small projectiles that attached to the crawl ship's hull. What are those devices? Asked High Counselor Zixtera. The answer came seconds later when the devices detonated in sequence, disabling the crawl ship's weapon systems without destroying the vessel itself. The 2 remaining crawl ships converged on the Endeavor, but the human ship executed a tight turn that would have killed most council species due to the extreme G-forces involved. The Endeavor positioned itself so the crawl ships had to adjust their fire to avoid hitting each other. For 10 more minutes, the council watched in stunned silence as the single human ship outmaneuvered the crawl vessels, using tactics no council race had seen before. The Endeavor took damage but kept fighting. Finally, after the Endeavor disabled the weapons on a second crawl ship, the 3rd enemy vessel retreated, jumping away into faster-than-light travel. Outpost Sigma 7, this is Captain Foster, came the transmission. Area secured. We've taken some damage but can assist with emergency repairs until Council reinforcements arrive. The chamber erupted in confused chatter. Ambassador Jordan looked as surprised as the Council members. She clearly hadn't known about the Endeavor's presence in that sector. High Counselor Zix Terra called for order, then announced, "We will recess for 1 day while we assess this situation. The Council will meet in emergency closed session without Earth representatives present. We reconvene tomorrow." The emergency session lasted for hours. Council security cleared all non-essential personnel from the chamber, and special jamming fields prevented any recording or transmission of the proceedings. General Pitak, the Council's senior military analyst, displayed tactical data from the battle. The human ship was outgunned 3-1, Pitak explained. Their vessel had approximately 1/3 the firepower of a single crawl ship, yet they prevailed through superior tactics and maneuverability. Pitak displayed a series of calculations on the main screen. Based on Earth's current population and industrial capacity, they could potentially field a fleet of 500 such vessels within 5 years. If they maintain their current growth and technological advancement rate, within 100 years they could deploy a force capable of challenging several Council races simultaneously. The Council members shifted uncomfortably. Ambassador Thriel stepped forward. "I have obtained a classified report from our Xenobiology division. Humans evolved on what we would classify as a death world. Their home planet has higher gravity, more extreme weather, and more deadly predators than 95% of Council homeworlds. Images of Earth's natural disasters, predatory animals, and harsh environments appeared on screen. Most Council species evolved primarily through defensive adaptation," continued Thriel. "Humans are among the only known species to evolve through predatory behavior. They were not simply avoiding being eaten, they were actively hunting other species. This shapes their psychology in ways we are only beginning to understand." Dr. Quartel rose to speak next. "There is another factor the Council must consider. Our genetic analysis shows that humans are still actively evolving at a rate unprecedented among Council races." She displayed human DNA sequences that highlighted specific gene markers. Most Council species reached evolutionary stability millions of years ago. Human DNA shows signs of continued adaptation and change. They are not what they will become. For 3 days. The closed Council debated the implications of these revelations. Some advocated for immediate containment of Earth, while others argued that making enemies of humans would be more dangerous than befriending them. Finally, they reached a decision. When the full Council reconvened, Ambassador Jordan returned to her place in the chamber. Captain Foster and her crew had also been invited to attend, still wearing their slightly damaged uniforms. High Counselor Zix Terra addressed the assembly. "After careful deliberation, the Council has reached a decision regarding Earth's status." The chamber was completely silent as Zix Terra continued. "Earth will be granted official diplomatic recognition and provisional trading status with the Galactic Council." Jordan smiled, but her smile faded slightly as Zix Terra added more conditions. "A permanent Human Affairs Committee will be established to oversee relations and technology exchange. All human vessels in Council space must carry Council observers. Technology transfers to Earth will be carefully regulated for mutual safety." The terms were more restrictive than most new species faced, but Jordan nodded in acceptance. "Earth thanks the Council for this opportunity. We accept these terms and look forward to working together." Captain Foster and her crew received official commendations for their defense of the outpost. They stood proudly as Zix Terra placed ceremonial medals around their necks. "The bravery and skill of the Endeavor crew exemplifies the potential contribution of humanity to galactic peace," announced Zix Terra. What Foster and her crew didn't know was that their actions had confirmed the Council's worst fears about human combat capabilities. Professor John Lewis of the Human Diplomatic Corps joined the Earth delegation the following week. As an expert in alien cultures, he noticed subtle changes in how various Council species interacted with humans. Some were overly friendly, while others maintained a careful distance. "Something happened during that closed session," Lewis mentioned, quietly to Ambassador Jordan as they walked through the harmonious exchange station. "They're treating us differently now." Jordan nodded. "I've noticed it too. but they've accepted us into the council. That's what matters for now. That evening in private quarters, High Counselor Zix Terra recorded a personal log entry, secured with the highest encryption protocols. May the stars forgive us if we've made a mistake in welcoming these humans into our midst. They call their homeworld Earth. We should perhaps call it what it truly is, the cradle of the most dangerous species the galaxy has ever known. Our analysts project a 70% probability that humans will become the dominant council species within 300 years. The containment protocols may slow this process, but I fear they are inevitable. The question now is not if humans will change the council, but how drastically. We must learn to guide their development, to channel their aggressive tendencies toward mutual benefit. For if we fail, the next great galactic power may not be as merciful as we have been. Zix Terra paused, four-fingered hands trembling slightly. The debate is over. Fear has won, though we dare not show it. The humans must never know how much they terrify us. The log entry ended, encrypted, and disappeared into the Council's most secure archives. 6 months after Earth gained its provisional status in the Galactic Council, the Human Affairs Committee had established its headquarters on both the Harmonious Exchange Station and in a new building in Geneva. Alien observers had become a common sight on Earth's streets, and human diplomats and scientists worked throughout Council space. Professor John Lewis had been promoted to Deputy Ambassador, working directly under Ambassador Jordan. His suspicions about the Council's true attitude toward humans had grown stronger with each passing week. "They're studying us like we're some kind of dangerous animal," Lewis said to Jordan as they reviewed reports in the Earth Embassy. "Every human ship has at least 2 observers who record everything we do. Every technology exchange is scrutinized. Something isn't right." Jordan nodded slowly. "I've noticed the same thing, but we need to be patient. We're newcomers here, and trust takes time to build." Their conversation was interrupted when a young diplomatic aide, Eric Wilson, entered with an urgent message. "Ambassador, Deputy Ambassador," Wilson said, slightly out of breath. "Captain Foster's ship has made an emergency return from the Proxima sector. She's requesting an immediate meeting with both of you." 30 minutes later, Captain Susan Foster arrived at the embassy. Her uniform was wrinkled, and dark circles under her eyes suggested she hadn't slept in days. "Thank you for seeing me so quickly," Foster said as she sat down. "What I'm about to tell you isn't in my official report to the Council." Foster placed a small device on the table that projected a holographic star map. 2 weeks ago, we were mapping the outer regions of the Proxima sector when we detected unusual energy readings. Our Council observers suggested we ignore it, but I ordered a closer look. Foster zoomed in on a small planet orbiting a red dwarf star. "We found this," she continued, changing the image to show a massive installation built into the side of a mountain range. "It's a Council facility, but it's not on any official star charts. When we scanned it, we detected thousands of life signs from at least 20 different species." Jordan leaned forward. "A secret Council base? Perhaps it's a research station." Foster shook her head. "That's what I thought too until we intercepted some of their communications. It's not research. It's a military installation. They're developing weapons there, Ambassador. Powerful weapons." Lewis frowned. "How did you get this information with Council observers on your ship?" "They had an accident," Foster said with a slight smile. "Nothing serious, but they were both in the medical bay when we made these discoveries. I wiped the ship's logs before they returned to duty." Jordan looked troubled. "This is concerning, but not necessarily aimed at us. The Council has enemies. We've seen that with the crawl." "That's what I thought at first," Foster replied, "until we decrypted more of their communications." She tapped the device again, and a series of documents appeared. "These are training scenarios, war games. Every single one involves countering human tactics and technology. They're preparing for a conflict with Earth." The 3 humans sat in silence for a moment, absorbing the implications. "What do we do with this information?" Lewis finally asked. Jordan stood and paced the room. "We need more evidence before we confront the Council. If we're wrong, we could damage our standing permanently." "I have an idea," Foster said, "but you won't like it." 2 weeks later, Dr. Quartel entered her private laboratory on the Harmonious exchange station to find a human sitting calmly at her desk. She froze in the doorway. "Hello, Dr. Quartel," said Lewis with a friendly smile. "I apologize for the unexpected visit." "How did you get in here?" Quartel demanded. "This area is restricted to authorized personnel only." "Yes, I know," Lewis replied. "Just as the facility in the Proxima sector is restricted, the one where the Council is developing weapons specifically designed to counter humans." Quartel's blue skin paled slightly. "I don't know what you're talking about." Lewis stood and approached the alien scientist. "Please, Doctor, we're not here to threaten or accuse, we just want the truth. Why does the Council fear us so much?" For a long moment, Quartel said nothing. Then she sighed deeply. "You were never supposed to find that facility." "But we did," Lewis said. "Now help us understand why it exists." Quartel moved to her computer terminal and brought up a series of files. "These are the true assessments of human potential that were never shared with your representatives." Lewis read through the documents, his expression growing more serious with each page. The files contained detailed analyses of human biology, psychology, and social structures, all focused on why humans represented the most significant potential threat the Council had ever encountered. "The Council believes we're dangerous," Lewis said quietly. "The Council knows you're dangerous," Quartel corrected. "Your species evolved through predation. You think in ways we cannot predict. Your adaptability and aggression are unmatched in Council space. Yet you welcomed us," Lewis pointed out, "because the only thing more dangerous than befriending humans would be making enemies of them," Quartel explained. "The containment protocols, the technology restrictions, all designed to slow your advancement while we prepare." Lewis shook his head. "This is based on fear and misunderstanding. We have no intention of dominating the Council or threatening anyone." "Perhaps you don't," Quartel said. "But what about your children, or their children? Your species changes so quickly. What humanity intends now may not matter in a century." Lewis considered this. "What if we could prove our intentions, show that humans can be trusted as true partners?" "How would you propose to do that?" Quartel asked skeptically. "By saving the Council from a threat it doesn't see coming," Lewis replied. 1 month later, Ambassador Jordan stood before the full Galactic Council. Behind her were Captain Foster, Deputy Ambassador Lewis, and Dr. Quartel. "Esteemed representatives," Jordan began, "I come before you today with information vital to the security of all Council species." She activated the central display, showing detailed intelligence about a massive crawl fleet gathering beyond Council space, far larger than any force previously encountered. "This fleet will attack within 3 months, Jordan explained. "Their target is not just border outposts, but the core worlds of the Council itself." High Counselor Zixtera leaned forward. "How did you obtain this intelligence?" Jordan glanced at Lewis and Quartel. "That is a long story, High Counselor. One that begins with fear and mistrust, but might end with something more valuable: genuine alliance."